And that's while I filled the socks with mayonnaise. It's like, what?
Doctor said penicillin will clear that right up.
All you need is a little baking soda and vinegar. Clear it right up. Which it does, for future reference. Anything can be cleared up with baking soda and vinegar. And maybe a little bit of lavender, because it stinks. Really, vinegar smells terrible.
I got something. What are you doing?
Why? I would be so confused by that. Like, welcome to my house. Yes, the room's here. What's that? My gloves are filled with cabbage right now. It's a medical condition. It's like, I mean, it's like it's inconspicuous enough. You kind of don't want to be like, well, that why? You just kind of like, oh, sure, sure. Apple cider. Everybody stacks these big liters of apple cider. Really popular. I don't know why. I mean, it tastes good in a pasta sauce, I suppose, or maybe like a soup. Are people cooking more soup?
Yes, moved it in time to catch Lucid. All right, so we return for our Power Ranger adventure. As we ended last week, worth noting, Alistair had dropped. Why don't you retell us what happened? Did you put down the changer?
Yeah, I took it off and kind of put it down on one of the console countertops in the thing, and said, because the GM gave me a negative tag, I quit. But no, but yeah, like just feeling a sense of if he had been better, if he had been more on the ball, he could have maybe woken up Mose faster. He could have stopped Mesmero quicker, and he failed at all of that. And this whole thing that even though again he's reluctant about the whole magic thing, it's still ultimately his jam to protect and function, and he just failed miserably at that. And so he figures you got to be better off right now, just maybe recruit somebody new or some veteran ranger, bring him back in or something, and y'all can do it without him because he's just going to mess it up. That's the gist of what happened. I think I just explained it more than he actually said, but.
And that's like a mic drop. The changer hit the table, and shit went down. So the next day, that kind of ended the note, and I remember a monitor had mentioned all right. Basically, him and Tom Berry needed some time to investigate how the three of you could get to this strange new monster planet called Alpheus. So it sends you back to school the next day. Actually, just past school. So after returning to Haim High on the following day, having some more of the science issues kind of plague you, Alistair, we return to you with Percival at our resident juice bar / rec center, where the two of you are running out of days to actually have something legitimate to go to the science fair, basically. And the project you had basically had as of yesterday was just lost, as it was knocked off the table, compounds were destroyed. The two of you basically need a brand new project. And so just like you could kind of imagine if we were kicking it old school, you got this brightly colored walls, except for the guy who runs our juice bar's name's Bert. Little hefty guy with an apron is walking around with a waitress table, one of those, waiting tables, not tables, but trays, walking around offering drinks. There are people working out. There's pads and ropes hanging from the ceiling, and people that are just kind of congregating, hanging around. And you're over at one of these just round tables with a couple high chairs, just post class, like maybe 30 minutes after, something like 3 or 4 p.m., and Percival's across from you, as the two of you have basically are passing ideas back and forth about what could the next science project be. Do you have any ideas? Anything that you as Lucid would like to throw out there or talk about? What could the direction of the science project be?
Well, I think in like kind of a true Power Ranger kind of fashion, learning from earlier in the episode, maybe using like the metal to channel whatever the goop was and that Mesmero left behind, like jar some sort of idea to create some sort of energy system, like a better version of the potato and light bulb thing.
Nice.
I don't know exactly what it would be because it's sci-fi TV goop and not something real, but
yeah,
maybe thinking back to that, like it's like a, no pun intended, like a light bulb moment.
So how would you we could say that you have some. Maybe you have it like in a vial or a jar or like a soda can. How would you have some contained to like show it to Percival?
I mean, we probably have like a science lab at the base type of thing, so maybe a little vial with a stopper in it.
Okay. Well, you haven't presented it to him yet, as basically the camera kind of zooms in at the table as, you two are chatting, and now we as the audience can kind of hear what you're talking about. So he's looking at you, he's got his hair pulled back in a neat ponytail, channeling his best, is it Jason Frank? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Frank, yeah.
Great. With, of course, you've noticed ever since he walked into school, he's got a little bit of the eye from all of the girls who think of him as like the new mysterious good-looking guy. Except for Brandy, who could probably care less. He looks to you, so locally, you have these heroes, right? What do you call them? With the big model, the big robots.
Yeah, the Power Rangers.
Yeah, the Power Rangers. Maybe we can make something like that. I was looking, Isaac had that robotics book. Maybe we can make like a little walking, talking robot model. Like a giraffe or something.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. That's Isaac's book. I don't know what his plan is. I doubt it's a giraffe under there, but if he's doing some sort of robot, I don't want to steal his thunder, since we kind of got the idea from his book.
And precisely then, Isaac, Mr. Oppenheimer, Tom Barry had messaged you just minutes ago and said that Monitor has new news for the group. The Power Rangers should assemble at HQ, I guess he would say, as soon as possible.
Okay.
Now, you haven't seen Alistair since science class, basically, but you pretty much know where he probably is hanging out.
Okay. I think Isaac would want to kind of get Alistair probably alone so we can kind of talk to him.
Okay.
And kind of either waiting after science class. I mean, he's still very obsessed with his project, but getting that, he kind of looks and he's just like, in the back of his mind, he's kind of psyching himself up to talk to Alistair and let him know that, hey, we have new information we're going to have to address here and kind of take it from there.
So how are you going to approach him? Are you going to, watch him from afar at the rec center, or are you going to, message him on your new phones or something?
No. It's almost very personal. I imagine, he's still in the mindset of not wanting to continue on as a teammate, and to Isaac, it's almost sort of this baffling thing, Remember, he's a big Power Ranger nut, so he's just like, you don't want to be a Power Ranger, what? So, when he's kind of out of earshot of your standard students, kind of confronts him. He kind of walks up and he kind of waves. He's like, Alistair, wait up! Kind of running up behind him, like a big stack of books, and just kind of like wobbling a little bit, like as he struggling to keep up, balancing Alistair and his science project in, sort of his way. Alistair, wait up! We need to talk.
I kind of slow down and wait. And you need me to carry some of that, or you go? You good?
Well, I wouldn't say no to any help.
I take some of the books.
Sure. If anybody's watching at home, it wouldn't hurt if you want to give some words of encouragement to Isaac to use to try to convince Alistair that things aren't so bad. Maybe you should pick up your Power Ranger mantle and come with us, because the world needs you. But, motivation, some inspiration wouldn't hurt. Continue, Isaac.
Hey, Alistair. How you holding up, buddy?
I mean, I'm okay, I guess.
Well,
Probably.
After yesterday, me and Brandy were really concerned. I mean, I know you're feeling some things, and I understand those feelings, but Alistair, I don't think there's anyone he kind of looks around who can do what you do so well. I really think we need you back.
Yeah.
Monitor has some information, and it'd be really good if we were all there. All three of us.
If I could do it well, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Alistair, you did do it well. Look, it wasn't you. It was all of us. We did our best with what information we had. You couldn't have predicted. You couldn't have prepared for what Mesmero did. It was strictly out of our range. It's something he'd never done before. I mean, honestly, have you known anybody to have gotten past the Guardian of Akashic Records?
Not personally, but I mean, if I studied more, maybe it has happened, and I just haven't come across it, or maybe I would have found a way to reinforce the Guardian, create a second Guardian, where Mesmero wouldn't have been able to do this.
Look,
it's not that I don't want to help y'all, or I mean, being a Power Ranger is really, really cool, but you can probably find somebody who does it better.
The two of you get interrupted by a woman who's obviously an adult. She's probably like in her maybe early 30s, though she looks a little rough and maybe actually wears an age that's probably more looking like in her 40s or 50s. Just more gray hair than she should, a little bit more like, facial like sort of wrinkles and lines. She actually smells kind of like cigarette smoke. And the two of you have seen her before. You just can't quite place her. Please don't leave Isaac alone with Brandy. You see her, and she is hard to place until you're like, oh wait, that's Brandy's sponsor. I don't know that either of you necessarily know what an AA sponsor is. I don't know if we got to that more you know, more you grow episode yet, but She comes up to the two of you, and she can be a little manic at times. Oh, hi, the two of you. You're Brandy's friends, aren't you?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can't find her anywhere. The vice principal called me and said that she left detention again just the other day.
Oh,
No, did she? I didn't know she had detention. That's unlike her.
Seen her for most of the day. Yeah. Actually, just got finished tracking down this guy.
Brandy, you are down the hall. You had left basically the three of you have kind of like the last hour together, which is the science class. But Isaac had staked out and caught Alistair. You had already left, probably even early, right, or got kicked out of class. So you went to your locker and kind of heading your way out of the building. And from like basically a mile down the hall, you can see the two of them talking with. Bonnie is her name, your sponsor. I imagine that she's got, her hair is kind of up. It's a bit of a mess. She has like these almost like awkward overalls on with like kind of like a long sleeve striped like sweater. reasonable shoes, but yeah, it's this hodgepodge mess of clothing. Your sponsor has been through a lot more in her life than you have. But she says she's clean. She's better now. But you do see her from a mile away, and the only reason she would be in school is to find you.
No.
Do you want to approach her? You can almost like read her lips from far away and see that like she's obviously talking about you to them, but you can't quite make it out from this far unless you make a roll or something.
Nah, I pull the fire alarm and run.
So, unfortunately, Isaac, as you were having this conversation, this meaningful, valuable conversation with Alistair about why the team needs him, you hear the loud sirens of the fire alarm, which, of course, who would pull the fire alarm? And the lady in front of you says, "Oh, my God, really? We got to get out of here, kids. Let's get out of here." And she kind of like puts her like arm around both of you because, like I said, she's a little manic, and she kind of tries to rush the two of you out of here.
Well, no.
She tries to put her arm around me. I just kind of like slip underneath it, like
stranger danger. Yeah.
Don't touch me.
You easily do that, as she will then has both arms to hold on to Isaac. Come on, I'll save you, Isaac. We'll get out of here. I won't let a fire hurt you.
Yeah, these alarms have been faulty a while. It's probably nothing.
Well, no, I mean, we gotta be careful. This could be a real fire. My project. And I immediately run towards, like, the science room to get my project.
I go with him.
Okay, before that happens, though, she is hell-bent on saving you. Because that's what she lives for, is saving people so they don't make the same mistakes she did. And right now, there could be a fire, and for your life, she's like, in her heart of hearts, right now she can't let you back into the flames. So what strategy would you use to escape this crazy woman?
Obsessiveness right now, because I am hell-bent. If this is a real fire, I am going to plan to get out of her clutches with the most polite way possible, and just get to my project because I left it in the science room and I need to get there if there is a fire because that's like a long time of effort. It could literally go up in smoke.
Yeah, I'm sure the competition is probably like this weekend. It's probably like Friday, right? End of the week. So it's probably like Tuesday now. We'll give you a full week, right, in school. So we had Monday already. We'll do Tuesday now. We'll say so it's either Thursday or Friday, right? So yeah, if we lost it, you'd have no time, especially with this Mesmero BS going on.
I know.
So
priorities.
I heard you mention a plan. I think it would be imagine if you use that plan because you've been caught at a moment's notice. Why don't you give me a roll and tell me how this plan is supposed to help you right now?
Well, actually, so as far as planning is concerned,
Sure.
using it in the imagine sense, sort of very carefully, using maybe terminology he's used before to kind of get out of things. So, him being used to having his hobbies, his obsessions, I would say Isaac is very well versed in saying just the right thing to milk another hour out of a task, or maybe get out of an important event he needs to go to, or maybe if something along the lines of a commitment, just to be like, well. So he's kind of used to coming up with reasons so that he can basically indulge in his obsessions a little bit more, whether that be robotics or science or things like that.
Well, you do know that Percival was talking to Alistair earlier in science class about how their project was ruined. They have no project left. And, he did ask you about, if we did some robotic thing, could we, borrow your book? Because we couldn't, obviously have you help because that'd be cheating. But if we had your robotics book, maybe we could do it on our own. So it does give you this sort of clue, and they're like, oh, maybe I have to go find Percival because he needs my robotics book for the science project. And, that's just days away.
So, thinking he's going to kind of give that reason.
Yeah.
Find and secure his thing, and also make sure he has all his books. So, because Percival needs his books, I need to get to those books. It's not just my it's not just my project anymore. So let me roll that.
He's the poor new kid. I mean, you wouldn't want to let the new kid leave him hanging, right?
No, and Alistair's helping him out too, because Alistair's really awesome and trying to make sure that he's getting a good grade. So I'm going to plan, and I'm going to imagine that plan. Boop.
And
Excellent.
I'm going to scroll this down so we can see that. Good. Okay. So we got one success. Any tags that can help you?
Well, I am obsessive
Okay. How does that help you in this situation?
because I have a singular focus on getting this task done, especially with so much time invested. And because Alistair is personally overviewing, Percival's sort of his project,
Yeah.
it's that much more important because now I have a friend who's invested in this just as much as me.
Okay. Give that a roll. Meanwhile, she's like, I'm sorry, your science project is just not that important. Your life is what's important here. And your friend, he'll understand if he's truly your friend. As she's like trying to she's only got like grips of like one arm right now as you're like getting away from her. Great.
So, go ahead.
I just said great since you made it. So what happens? Does she let go of you, or does she like lose her grip and fall in her butt?
I'll meet you in a bit. I'll come back. I just really need to handle this. This is more important than people. This is for a grade. And I run away.
Okay, sure. So as that kind of fades, and Alistair, like you said, you can like run off with him. She felt really dedicated in bringing Isaac with her, but you didn't give her any room to do that. So she's left, and she kind of like runs down the hall to the left, like one of her arms flailing, as if she's like, "There's a fire! There's a fire! Get out!" And you just hear her echoing through the halls.
I'll be quick.
See, and I'm not freaking out because this woman's here.
Yeah.
Fire alarm goes off. Brandy can't be found. Kind of good and it's.
Speaking of that, Jessica, so you see your handiwork from not too afar as you see your crazy sponsor like try to drag Isaac out, and Alistair somehow ducks and evades her, and then just watches from 5 feet away as Isaac, you can hear him talking, or see him talking, but can't quite make it out, and somehow, some way, he stands his ground, and you see her run off flailing your arm. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Oh yeah, once she's gone, I come out and go up to Isaac and Alistair, and I'm like, "Hey guys, what's up?"
Meanwhile, everyone is fleeing, everyone's going past you, and you're seeing a couple of the stragglers now who, of course, are, trying to hightail it because they're late, and if there's a fire, they're screwed. As the three of you are kind of walking against the last few stragglers, it does leave the potential of a couple teachers who might see you, but you're not far from the lab. Well, the science lab, so.
Surely they would understand.
So you head to the science class?
Get to the science lab, going to secure my project as well, and also get the books that Percival needs.
Okay. All right, so you get those. Anything anybody wanted to do here? Pedro, is there anything you'd like to tell us more about your project that we don't know? Do they see anything else when you come here to double check?
When I'm kind of moving my project in my hands, because it takes pretty much. Actually, no, it'll take two people. So I'm gonna need Alistair's help Alistair or Brandy's help to kind of move this. As the sheet kind of whiffles a little bit, they'll see sort of this light kind of glowing beneath the sheet, but nothing more than that.
Okay.
And after we had take a few steps with it, both of us trying to move this thing, I look over to Brandy. Is there a fire, or did you do this?
Oh no, I did this.
Okay. Do we still need to move it? I look back at Isaac, do we need to move this? I mean, there's not a fire.
There's not a fire?
No, that was me.
That's really dangerous, Brandy. People aren't going to take the alarm seriously now. Well, are you sure there's not a fire?
I could set one if you really want a fire.
No.
I mean, let's be honest. Nobody can be sure there's not a fire somewhere, but the alarm didn't go off because of that. It went off because she pulled it.
Oh,
So
okay.
if there is a fire, it's not enough to set off the alarm.
So did Percival not need help with his project either?
No, I'm sure he still did. Ours got ruined last class, and so
Oh,
he was talking about some sort of robotic thing, a giraffe maybe.
Yeah, because Hottie McHotPants thinks that if you've got less than a week to take a project, that this is the perfect time to do a crash course in robotics.
I don't know where he came from or what he's done at his school before. I mean, he might be a whiz at it.
well,
He might have some like really cool bug he designed, like some sort of rad bug that he created.
well, if he is, I
Or
would
giraffe.
really like to compare notes with this gentleman. But I don't have any books on. Oh wait, I do have a small textbook, and of course I have my book. But he can't see that book. Those are for me, my personal notes. And here he is. I can hold up a sort of a basic book on robotics that you could kind of get anywhere, and make sure that my important book on robotics is safely tucked away in my backpack. So 2 books. I'm going to give him the right one. But all that. Now that I have you guys here, as we were so kind of turned to Brandy, rudely interrupted, I was talking to Alistair and letting him know that Monitor summoned all of us to the base with more information.
All of us, Alistair. That means you don't get to pussy out. Come on.
Y'all can find somebody better.
Alistair,
Yeah, go. So Ishmael, like 20 magic users, right? Because like my neighbor, totally. No, you are my neighbor. Crap.
how much have you had today, Brandy? Don't answer that. Also, it's Isaac. But no, she's right. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know. And Alistair, I mean, it just wouldn't be the same without you.
I can give you some contacts from my family who know better than I do, who can probably do better than I did and resolve this a lot quicker than I could.
Yeah, but the Ranger chose you. You don't get to choose it. It chose you. They can't just walk in and say, hey, I'm going to sub for Alistair today. That's not how it works. I mean, God knows. How did I get this position? We're still questioning that. I was probably standing in front of the person that was supposed to get it. But anyway.
I mean, if it chose me, then by proxy, if I chose somebody else, then that would be the same as the powers choosing that person, because they said you're good enough, so the decisions I make have to be right for those powers, correct? So then the person I pick would be the better ranger.
Yes, but you're doubting whether you're good enough or not. So then how do you know that you're good enough to make the decision on who else is good enough if you're doubting if you're good enough to be good enough to begin with?
I was going to say with that, we can montage back to the Juice Mart, maybe like the Juice Bar / Rec Center, like some 30 to 45 minutes later. As I can imagine that conversation continued on frustratingly for another about 2 to 3 minutes before the three of you are like, dang, he just doesn't get it. We need him.
Isaac is still doing the math of what Brandy said.
Okay.
Doesn't add up.
So reproducing our scene that is slightly altered now. Percival is in front of you. He just starts with, so we need a new science project. I was thinking about those local heroes, with the big robots. What are they called again?
The Power Rangers or
Yeah,
the robots?
Power Rangers. There's the green one and the what are the other colors?
There's been a lot. I guess the recent ones have been purple and blue.
Don't forget yellow.
And the green one is sometimes they're black, sometimes they're green. Nobody's really sure what's up with that.
Yeah, he. Well, anyway. So I was thinking, and he holds it. This time he has a picture, and it looks very, very good for a giraffe Zord. And he holds it in front of you like a sketch, but it looks like master sketched, right? Like where did Bob Ross just do this? Because he just pulls it out of a notebook, and he's like, yeah, maybe something like this, and it could like walk, and its neck could extend, and its head could go backwards and turn to a lance, and well, or whatever.
That's pretty cool. I don't think we have the time to build a giant giraffe robot, but
No, just a model or something.
Now hold on. Let me take a look at these schematics.
Good,
Alistair.
Isaac shows up conveniently. While you're looking at the schematics, Brandy, if you were coming to the rec center to hang out, as most of us would, or even to just try to twist Alistair's arm some more, outside the door to the rec center, because for some reason there's one door, you see Bonnie standing there looking like eagerly, like bent over, half over like this, like clearly like scouring the terrain for you.
Like, shit. And I hand my drink over to, because I'm assuming, okay, they're already there, so I am coming into the rec center on my lonesome, correct?
Yeah.
They're already in there, they're already talking and drooling over Hottie McHotpants' giraffe sword sketch. Okay. Because you guys and your pretentious names.
I just want to see his giraffe.
So does half the school. Anyway.
So outside, conveniently, you see, just a handful of students walking, laughing, kind of joking with each other, holding school books. Heading inside as a group of teenagers is walking out in like gym clothes kind of looks. Not the official like Haim High gym clothes, but gym clothes. And you see a little group outside that's laughing with like smoothies and drinks. And you also see Dirk and Bags, who are also standing out front. Like almost on the opposite side of Bonnie, your sponsor. So it's like if you go through that door, you have to walk past like the three people you like you like the least.
Mm.
And then you see the taller of the two, Dirk, goes, "Hey, I think that's her over there," and she points towards you. As basically you see Bonnie who's going like this, and she looks over alert, and then she looks towards you. You have moments. What do you do?
All right. I start planning for what I'm the best at. Making excuses. So I'm like already going through my head trying to think of, okay, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to do? Okay. So I just keep walking straight into the rec center. So obviously I'm walking towards her.
Okay. You see her, and like do you look to make eye contact, or you kind of like hide your eyes as you walk closer?
I look straight ahead like I desperately need to get into the rec center.
Okay. She, as you are getting closer and closer, you can almost tune out her voice as she's obviously calling out for you, and she stands between you and the front door of the rec center. And she's like jumping up with like waving her hands, like feeling like, oh, she just must not see me.
Oh.
And as you get about like 10 feet, you can tell that like her feet almost start kicking as if she's gonna start running towards you to give you a big hug.
Oh God, no! I had enough drink yet today to deal with that. All right, I'm like, oh, hey, Bonnie.
Yeah, her name's Bonnie Hunch.
Bonnie. Oh no, she knows the name.
Randy, dear, I've been looking all over for you. Finally.
I know, and I don't touch me. And I have to get in there because my lab partner, Isaac, is he's needing my help on our very important project that's due Friday, and I am in such a hurry.
Okay, make your excuse. So, is this a reasonable thing for you? Is this just like you always make excuses?
Yeah, I'm the best at it.
Okay.
Like, literally, that's the top of it.
Let's use reason, make excuses, and see how well it plays out. As you hear her mumble something, yeah, it sounds like I've been hearing that a lot today. With her raspy voice.
Her raspy 5-pack-a-day voice.
Yeah.
I've been hearing that a lot today.
Yeah.
Just like, ooh.
All right, there we go.
Okay. Oh, that's very crazy that you rolled even. So you have to roll under. So you got no successes so far. As she looks to you, you're going to get to use tags here in a second, so think about what tags you want. Yeah, but that doesn't stop. There's always going to be something to challenge you. And you still got to follow with the program. You need to go to the meetings. You need to admit your shortcomings. It's the only way you're going to move beyond this step and finish the program. She tries to take inspiration out of your excuse to try to promote. The right action is to go to your meeting with her. What tags do you use to get out of this?
Dumb luck.
Awesome. Great. Give it a roll.
All
Is it
right.
for your strategy or your soul skill? Probably your strategy would be better for you. But...
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. So she says that, and out of dumb luck, yeah, Dirk and Bags were right over there, and Dirk had pointed you out, basically. Bags, he's, the shorter, dumb one, short and wide dumb one, as he walks up and goes, yeah, you got to follow the program. I keep up with Dirk because Dirk's in charge, so I do whatever he says, and I do it just like he asked me because that's the program, and you need to get with it. And the woman looks, Bonnie looks at him, and it's like, program? That's not AA. That's just him being a bully and you following along. And there's a bit of a distraction. So, what do you do? She looks at you, like she's still keeping an eye on you because you had one success. There's a bit of a catch here, right? As obviously Dirk and Bags kind of get pulled along in this. Now Dirk is like kind of crunching his knuckles as he walks up. He's always got to look intimidating and tough. Not like he's going to punch a lady, but
No, I think at that point, Brittany would probably tilt her head to the side and say, did you just tell somebody my personal business? Did you just tell this idiot that I'm in AA? Don't you think it's a breach of our personal, my privacy?
Conveniently there, we'll pause that for a second because something's about to happen there. Alistair and Isaac, so the two of you are inside. Isaac, you were like, give me a second, and I'm going to, here's the robotics and the schematics and whatever. What did you come up with? You're looking at this giraffe sword, which looks dedicated. You said you have, like, Power Ranger-like knowledge?
I do. I'm actually one of the head admins for a Power Ranger dedicated site called the Mega Board.
Okay.
It's,
because of the Mega Board, you recognize this is the Lost Giraffe Sword. And that word lost just rings in your head as there are a few Rangers that were mentioned and were dispersed who guarded Alpheus, the monster planet. Conveniently mentioned last night. As you stare at this picture, it starts to fade in. On one hand, you see the picture. On the other hand, it's like you can imagine what it actually looks like. And then back and forth as you're staring at this image.
Percival, where did you get this?
Right as you go to do that, you see a familiar woman from science class who walks right in front of you talking. Like, just walks right between you and Percival. And those words, like, touch the back of her head. And her name was, I think it's Jody. Let me just double check. And if not, it's Jody for now, because Jody was the one in science class who saw Percival walk in and put her little fist up to her chin and look this way up at her and had sparkles in her eyes.
Aww.
And from what you can tell, but probably what you can't tell, because you're talking to the back of her head as she just inserted herself in the conversation. Alistair, though, you can conveniently see her. She's like, Percival, like, we're going to the Angel Grove Cemetery tonight, and it's Boyd and I thought that maybe you being new around here, you might want to come too, because, like, Boyd and I aren't together, but, like, we're friends, and there's this street performer, and he's going to be there tonight. It's going to be really... And you hear a loud sort of, like, crack in the ceiling, as, like, something just, like, thundered onto the ceiling and went thud, and this, like, ceiling kind of cracked as I turned green when I held my hands up. And everyone in the room, she stops as, like, there's some flakes from, like, the drywall sort of ceiling thing kind of breaking down. And everyone kind of, like, hits the deck and makes those sounds of, like, what? Oh, shit, and squeak and squeal. And you can see a clear crack in the ceiling as something very heavy landed on top of the rec center / juice bar.
Kind of look over at Isaac and just kind of like, what?
Did you feel that? And then just like, and then everyone starts kind of looking around and murmuring. I'm like, ooh, that does not sound good.
Okay, outside. Brandy, you are outside. So what were you about to do? Because, like, basically this is going to happen right as you're doing this.
Oh, I'm being manipulative. I'm basically being like, oh, well, you totally did this, and that's my privacy, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, obviously that's pretty much what I'm doing, is I'm just basically trying to make her the bad guy.
Okay.
Because I am drunk and I don't want her to smell me.
As what should be unbeknownst to you, well, you know, there's one piece of setup before that. So you start saying these things, and something very weird happens. She just starts talking out loud, like as if it was her inner monologue. She goes, sorry, I'm like, how PG do I need to be for our Dream Chaser? She's like, why you gotta be such a bitch? You need to go to this program so I can get my fucking stars, and the two of us can be sober individuals, prominent parts of the society. And she, like, covers her mouth like, what? And you realize that all around you, there is, like, this sort of purple, like, sort of pixie dust that's falling. And you hear a loud thud on top of the building, which is, you can't really see the ceiling from where you are, but you can kind of, like, just about if you back up a little bit. And you can hear some strange voice on the ceiling talking out loud that says, that, of course, for some reason you could hear. It says, when Mesmero is in charge, he'll make me his right-hand hypnogriff. And what peers over off to the side of the building is what looks like a giant sort of hippo-bodied creature that has purple wings, and its eyes are almost crazy as they kind of spin. And these feathers are coming off of its wings, and they're flying around. And as you look around, you can see Bags and Dirk are arguing, and it seems like, for our metadata, people are just vomiting information that's in their head about each other.
I'm entirely too sober for this.
Speaking of that, how quick do you catch on probably determines when you wouldn't punch your sponsor in the face. So probably imagine what strategy would, like, well, first of all, do you just want to hit her or do something when she just vomits all this vile stuff in your face? Or did you want to show restraint? Because then we'll make a roll.
I'll probably show restraint.
Okay.
I'll probably just if I can, I would turn her around, make her look at this thing, and then I would run.
Okay. Well, that sounds easy enough, given that she's obviously startled by the words that came out of her mouth, and you didn't try to punch her in the face, which she probably was about to cover up for. So you easily grab her and turn around, and then she shrieks. And like most good, Power Ranger NPCs, they start backing up and, like, running for the hills. Though Dirk and Bags both jump into bushes that are conveniently very close and yet in the way. So you see this giant creature that's looking in your direction. And it starts kind of, like, laughing funny. And it says, "Come out, Power Rangers! Come out! When I'm rid of you, I will be the right-hand man of Mesmero. By man, it means hypnogriff, but, you know, who's paying attention?
Wait, hippogriff?
Hypnogriff.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's
like,
amazing.
I'm so hurt by this pun. I just want you to know.
Hypnogriff.
I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. And the minute you said hippopotamus, I was like, we are done. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking up at this thing, and obviously it's dust is falling on me too.
Yes.
So it's just given its little like ha 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 monologuing, and I would probably say something like, I'd probably like shout into the building and being like, hey guys, who are absolutely positively not Power Rangers. Please come out here really quick. Absolutely positively not Power Rangers. And I probably would actually, despite the fact that I'm being really obvious, I may actually need to roll just to be able to do that.
Okay. I also want you to roll because you could fall under the effects of the hypno feathers.
Okay, so what am I rolling?
Which one of your strategies would help you, in this case, like be clear of mind? Or be unaffected by some kind of hallucinogen?
Well, let's see.
We got to find the choice words for the alcoholic. So.
Making excuses, brawling, and bad advice. I think it would be brawling because I didn't just punch Bonnie in the face. So I probably still have some adrenaline because F her, man.
Interesting.
But
okay, go imagine. Imagine brawling.
I think I'd go with brawling. Okay.
Okay, one success. Any tags that would help you with the other?
Alcoholic. I'm always effed up. Like, what's this stuff going to do to me? Alcohol is the ultimate truth serum anyway.
I feel that you would have to imbibe. Because you've already mentioned how you were not drunk enough for this.
No, well, I said that I had been drinking. So
sure.
I have been drinking. I didn't want Bonnie to smell it on me, but I was not drunk enough to deal with a giant hippo. Yeah.
Can I get you to drink in front of Bonnie to roll this tag?
Yeah. Yeah, I pull out my whatever, my Hello glass.
Okay. And you kick it back, and Bonnie, who was running away in the distance, you know, you could, as if the camera pans, and she conveniently, for some reason, staring right at you. She's like, oh my God! And then it pans back to you.
All right, ready?
I knew it!
Aw.
I'm really good at disappointing people.
Yeah, well, that is her tag, right? Like, it wouldn't be right if you didn't disappoint her. You take that drink, and then what do? You looked inside and you said this, we need the Power Rangers. Not that they're in here, but if they were, we need the Power Rangers anyway.
Yes.
Inside, Isaac and Alistair. So the two of you heard that boom and that thunder. Basically, for a moment there, was like you two and Percival who looked at each other, and everyone else hit the deck for a second. And then Percival grabbed that sketch back and like put it like in his notebook and clutched his notebook like it was important to him. And the two of you, what do? You hear the thump and then that crack, and there is actually some sort of like pink purple dust that's kind of almost like a light from the ceiling is kind of shining in, and that's how you can kind of see it flickering in as a feather, and then another feather float in, and you start hearing some stomping on the roof. Not your first day in the job, the two of you recognize that this must be some monster sent to cause trouble to Haim High and its neighbors.
We have to get out of here anyway because it's structurally, and I try to be like, everybody get out, there's something on the roof, and like kind of like with Alistair kind of make our way out from under the big thing kind of stomping around.
Do you have any strategies that would help you get everyone's attention or get them going or get them out of here?
Let me see.
You are the man with the plan. I feel like it's a missed opportunity if I don't at least offer.
I think it would be an excellent opportunity to enact a fire drill plan, ironically. And I'm having memorized it, I go, left side can be found and exits on this way and this side. Everyone in an orderly line. Go, go, go.
Do you think that's a reasonable use of your planning ability? You've probably done this in the past, but maybe you haven't. Do you think it's reasonable, or is it something you just whipped up on the fly?
I think it's reasonable in the fact that it's an actual fire plan. Like it's almost in the name, and that there are just clear instructions on, hey, here's a plan. Let's enact this plan.
Okay. You see Bert, the juice bar manager, look to you. Great idea, Isaac. And as he starts like waving his hand, this way, folks, as like for the left side, like you mentioned, as he kind of is delegating the responsibility. Alistair, I feel like even given all the circumstances, you might even still be a little mopey about it. This is a job for the Power Rangers after all.
Well, first, seeing like the dust or whatever, whenever Isaac started his stuff, I was already, standing there like...
I hope this isn't asbestos.
Just because, it might not work if it's magic dust, but you can't be too careful when you see strange dust and feathers coming through a ceiling in this town.
In this town, for sure, right?
At Alistair, like, what in the way he's covering his mouth?
But beyond that, then as people start trying to leave, I do still try to help them out. I don't feel like I'm necessarily qualified to be a ranger and stop Mesmero, but I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Okay. So, reluctant for a moment, but just a moment, as he covers his face and he begins helping people out the right side. Isaac, your plan is working very well. The two of you, as you kind of start working towards the door, you see Brandy burst in, saying if there were Power Rangers in here, we could really use Power Rangers, but if there's not, I totally understand. Brandy, obviously, as you get to the door, people are actually starting to pour out. So you don't have any problem kind of getting in, but they're kind of like, you're parting the Red Sea as they're kind of going around you. The two of them inside did not hear anything about this monster. You probably have probably about 30 seconds or so before it would come after you if you stay inside. So what did the three of you do?
Just trying to get past all this pink dust and trying to stay together with Alistair and possibly Brandy to kind of get out of the way of everybody.
Okay.
Side note, what's Percival doing during all this? Because he was right there with us.
Thank you very much. So Percival, he grabbed his note and put it in the notebook, and he stood up, and he lifted a couple people that were like basically under a table, just ducking and covering with, complete paralyzation by fear. And he started kind of like pushing, you got to get out, you got to get out. Eventually, but the girl that is head over heels for him runs over and goes, you two, I can't leave without you. And her and whoever, maybe her boyfriend, this guy who's just like giving him the stink eye, both of the two of them are like grabbing him. He's like reluctant to leave, but he doesn't really, have any reason to stay. So he's kind of getting pulled out by the two of them, as you can just tell like he wants to stay for some reason, but he can't. And they're like the last to leave. The ceiling cracks more, and you can begin hearing the monster's voice up top. Power Rangers, come out and play.
So this guy's supposed to be doing something bad for Mesmero, so he can be his right hand hypno. You know what? I don't know, guys.
With that, the ceiling gives in under the weight of the giant flying purple hippo, and he lands butt first on the ground, and a table's crushed. He looks completely unaffected, as basically all of your eyes dart to the right and see that, like, conveniently in the rec center part, like just on the ledge of where there are still tables, he crushes a couple tables, and there's this giant opening area where usually like the martial arts instructions would happen, and some like wrestling-esque mats are laid out, and thump, boom, dust flying everywhere. This stuff he's emanating is going everywhere in this room very quickly, and he still sounds just happy and go like, ooh, maybe there's Power Rangers inside, as he gets back up on four legs and begins turning around to see who else is in the room.
That is one heinous murder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again.
I just said that is one heinous herbivore.
Yeah, he's pretty big. He's probably like, as you imagine, he's like hippo-sized with giant purple wings that have these weird feathers that just keep like, kind of like a wilting and falling off, and then just kind of floating around, and these crazy eyes with this sort of beak nose, and the eyes just spin. They just have that circling, spinny cartoon look to them.
Alistair, what's this duck coming off of him?
All of you need to, first of all, it's a challenge. Second of all of you are going to be affected first by its hypnotic feathers, or mist, or dust. So for the challenge, we have the Hypnogriff. And going to, oops. That's unimportant. That's from last time. And let's see. Yep, I should probably make sure it looks decent. Like, it's on the screen. That would help. And move this a little over to the right and down a bit. Okay, so the mind of the Hypnogriff in this contest is going to be a, let's see, outsmarting you. I'm going to say it's probably a 6, given that you haven't changed yet. And it does have these hypnotic powers, which may outsmart you and entrap you a bit if you end up voicing your true feelings about one another in a very hostile way. Its body, being up, it is a Hypnogriff monster. I'm going to give that a 7. And its spirits, that's probably where it gets really nasty, right? Is that we're going to give that an 8. If it really wants to pour on the problems for the three of you. And okay, I'm going to pull this down, just make that look nice. Its tag, so we think that it has, where's my text box? It's got its hypnotic powers. Helps you can spell, hypnotic. It is a hippo, and we're going to say griff. We're just going to go right along the way. It's got those fierce wings, that beak, it's giant hippo-bodied, and has these hypnotic powers. But you know what? I really want to play more with that hypnotic power with him. So hypnotic, hippo, and what do we call that? I'm going to say sad truths, for lack of a better way to put it. All right. So each of you, first, I need a roll for how you resist the hypnotic trances that kind of go through the room. So each of you think for a second on what you do, and the first one who has something in mind, let me know. What strategy could you use?
Isaac will plan to hold his breath.
Nice. Great. Sounds like a Imagine plan. Give me a roll. Okay. Oh, perfect success. 2 1s. What's the best possible thing that can happen from Isaac holding his breath in face of the hypnotic feather mist dust that makes people tell them all their inner monologues, bad thoughts about one another? When it's a perfect success, we always let them go last. So, Lucid or Jessica, what's the best possible thing that could happen with Isaac holding his breath to resist this?
He passes out. So technically he doesn't breathe it in, but he just passes out cold. Because those two are the ones that we actually stand to have more problems if it affects. Isaac or Crowley.
Alistair.
Alistair. Sorry, I love the name, but I can only think of it.
Alistair.
I can only think of it in whole.
No
or
problem.
Alistair. Those are the two that we're actually going to be in trouble if they speak.
Okay.
Because they actually know stuff, especially Isaac. So the best possible thing is that he holds his breath until he passes out and he is not affected by it.
Okay. Lucid, what do you think? What's the best possible thing that could happen?
Well, at first, when she said pass out, I was like, what? But then she explained it, and I think she's right.
Okay. We're going to hold the result for a second, but Pedro, what do you think? What would be the benefit, the best thing that could happen with Isaac doing this?
Yeah, I mean, he kind of holds his breath. I mean, logically, he's not athletic, so he can't hold it for a long time. Um, and I just imagine him like sort of quickly turning to Alistair, like he's like patting himself, and he's trying to eventually like find Alistair's like morpher, and he like is kind of pushing it towards him, and maybe it takes so long that like he's like getting lightheaded, and then just like trying to like just give him the morpher, just kind of falls down.
Sure.
And, like
Is Isaac asthmatic? Because like maybe his inhaler totally neutralizes the effects of the feathers.
Wow, that would be awesome too. Yeah.
just like maybe he's even reaching for it. He's just like, I have an inhaler.
Because like battery acid, you slime. No, because if you like, because if like he's gonna hold his breath, and when he finally breathes, it's gonna be like this big, just like double shotting it. So
yeah, so we could say that. But the best thing that could happen now, I think, is desperately try to hand Alistair his changer before maybe it takes a little while,
sure.
or maybe that hesitancy just, and then sort of pass out from lack of breath.
Okay.
So dramatic. I like it.
Brandy, I want your role next because I have a good idea for Alistair, depending on your role. So.
What do I do?
Yeah. How do you try to resist the effects of the sad truths that the hypnogriff can place into your head and make you say aloud?
Well, I'm skilled at bad advice, and that doesn't necessarily mean giving it to other people. I'm also good at, probably advising myself poorly. You could
be really good at already saying the unfortunate truth.
So, I think I would go with I ain't got nothing to hide, I got nothing to lose, so I would just face it head on.
Okay. So in your case, you are affected. But why don't you give me an imagine and a bad advice roll? And let's see if it helps or hurts you. Okay, 1 success. Now, since you didn't roll a crit, you got 1 success, and we have these tags, which say that, sometimes this creature is hypnotic. And maybe it's the fact that you usually would say the unfortunate sad truths, but maybe this creature wants to make you say more than that to really hurt Alistair. So why don't you re-roll that soul skill die? Or you're just going to hit anything that makes you roll 1 die, but... And let's see if you keep that 5 under a 6.
So that'd be a vision roll?
In your case, you could hit any tag button. Just one of the blank ones.
Okay.
To let you re-roll just 1 generic die. Great. Sticks. So, realizing that you are affected, the hypnogriff looks at you. Oh, you have interesting things in your head. Maybe you could say this instead. But you are unaffected by its charming words. Do you have any tags that would help you? Help you make this a everyday walk in the park. It is molding, corrupting the minds of everyone, and you're like, whatever. I do this every day.
I've got alcoholic again, because I'm used to being under the influence, so being under his influence doesn't really bother me. I have belligerent, which I don't really think this would be a good use of that one. I have hold my beer, which would make me just sit there and just start saying everything. Like one time when I was 6, and you know what I mean? Just purposely, vomiting purposely, but giving him everything but what he wants.
Okay.
Unless, of course, I fail a roll and then I don't have a choice.
Of course, right?
And then I have dumb luck and hedonistic.
Hedonistic, that's funny. It's only funny because I can't even imagine what you do with it, but I bet there's funny things you could do with it.
You can't talk. You're downing a whole bunch of alcohol.
Yeah.
Just hedonistically.
Can't talk if I'm drinking. Can't talk if I'm passed out.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
is it alcoholic? Like you're already always under the influence? Being belligerent, you said? Like maybe this is just how you are normally? Or like you said, hedonistic, it would be funny if you just like, you drink yourself so you're unaffected, but it's up to you. What do you want to do?
I kind of just want to do the one where I just talk nonstop about giving him all of the dark truths that he doesn't actually want.
I like belligerent. Why don't you give that a roll?
Belligerent? Okay.
See if you can get under a 5 for that strategy. Nope.
Well, nope.
Okay. You still succeed, but there's a catch. So in your case, you just keep talking. That's great. So
if she had enough faith, could she re-roll it again? If she had another tag?
Oh, I didn't think about it. You guys probably do have 5. What's your belief at?
I have 5.
Mine's going to be the same. Yeah.
Sorry, Jess. I forgot all about that. Running too many one-shots lately. Yeah, for sure. Do you have another tag to help?
Yeah.
We already told you 2 tags that could help you. Why don't you use another one? You start babbling and babbling as the hypnogryph thinks that it has you under its spell. It walks past Isaac, who is collapsed, from actually falling asleep.
Dumb luck.
Okay.
Dumb luck.
Give it a roll. Okay. Dumb luck. You just keep talking and talking. You are not really held under its spell, per se, other than you are spilling all these facts. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you're spilling information, but it's not hurting anyone necessarily.
Yeah.
But it is also keeping you occupied in the way that you feel like if you stop talking, you could be hypnotized. So you just keep talking, and Alistair, the changer falls in your hands as Isaac collapses, and you see the creature look to you and starts walking towards you, all kind of giddy. By walking, how about we give it a little skip? It's this big freaking hippo that's kind of skipping towards you as if it weighed like 1/20th of its actual weight. And gleefully it's coming towards you, just trying to pierce into your soul with those hypnotic eyes. Isaac looks unconscious. Brandy is standing there just spitting nonsense out over and over again. And think about what you want to do.
Well, I was already planning, like, not on having the morph or anything like that, so I don't think I would necessarily have time to properly strap it on. In a realistic sense, we go show sense, and it could be on the table a mile away, and I slap it on my wrist, and it's fine. But realistically, so I think I would probably try to go with the idea I was already seeing the mist and the feathers and all this stuff, like kind of coming down, potentially affecting us, and using my magical ability to summon the wings of Garuda, basically, to create like a whirlwind and whip all of the dust and feathers and just keep it actually like directly around him, kind of blinding him with his own.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Yeah, give me a roll.
Then if that works and he's occupied, then if I so inclined, I can put the morpher on and all that.
Go ahead and give me a roll. It's probably Imagine Arcane Arts. And while you're doing that, Isaac, do you think that your action, your critical, is that something that do you think that targets the spirit of the challenge? Is it motivational for Lucid?
I would say it's motivational for reasons of like, they haven't gotten Isaac. Maybe there's a chance yet, or I don't.
Okay.
No.
It could also be mind. Like you removed yourself from the challenge for a second in a way to pop up in a minute to really take advantage of the situation.
A tactical decision.
It does seem like mind or spirit, yeah.
I'd say mind because it's a sort of a tactical play on Isaac's part to be like, all right, we need to isolate this intrusion into our thoughts, and kind of switch up tactics a little bit. So I'd say it's a mind thing. We're trying to outmaneuver him mentally.
With that crit, do you think that you are able to have outsmarted the hypnotic powers of the hypnogryph? Or do you think maybe getting behind it, being a hippo, won't be a bit of a problem for you? Or do you think that maybe because of your action, no one's really been affected by these sad truths?
I think either the sad truths or hypnotic. Sad truths in that no one really has been affected because they're all dealing it with certain ways. Or hypnotic in that it sounds like through stuff that I have done, Brandy has done, and Also Alistair done. They've kind of taken away his sort of momentum as far as like kind of manipulating everybody. Oh, excuse me.
Brandy, what do you think? Which one do you think would be better, Hypnotic or Sad Truth?
You mean which one would be best for our scenario, or best?
Because Isaac was just saying, like, a good reason for both. Which one do you think would be better to remove? Felt that was only fair since I affected you with the result as if he had it. So I was like, I'll let you choose.
I think Hypnotic, because Hypnotic, he could. Well, hold on. I believe with Hypnotic, he can compel us to tell the things that we don't want to tell.
Cool.
But with Sad Truth, all we're doing is just saying sad things.
Okay. All right. And then with that, and Brandy had 1 and 1. So in your case, you took 1 point of damage to your spirit. No, it might be mind. What do you think? Your effects. I think it's mind because you probably got the hypnogriff to think that you were affected, and it's kind of ignoring you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, long story short, Alistair, your arcane arts. I see 2 successes. First of all, what are you targeting now that you can see the results of where it's at so far?
I mean, I think it would ultimately be either body or spirit.
Okay.
Body because it'd be basically blinding him with his own abilities, but spirit for the same thing. Like his major weapon isn't working and it's being used against him now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd leave it up to you for which one. I think either one would work.
I like spirit just because you're actually using, like, it may even hypnotize him in some way. So okay. And you got 2 successes, though, of course, the creature is focused on you, and it is this giant gleeful hippo that is getting closer and closer, and it's not trying to stop in front of you, it's trying to just keep skipping and land right on top of you. So at that critical moment of your casting your spell, you realize, it's not stopping to monologue some more. No, it's just going to keep jumping and hopefully jump on you. See if you can keep your cool. Reroll both your dice.
Hopping hippos.
I pulled that from It. I could picture It doing that in the recent movie. Oh no, okay. You have 2 tags to use. As it lands, not only where you were, but knocking the tables over and shoving you over basically one of the railings into the juice bar area on the ground.
I think stubborn, like even if I'm being kind of shoved to the ground, I'm still going to try to get this spell off.
Okay. You hit the ground.
Good for one.
Changer kind of slides out of your hands, or just out of grasp. You try to finish the spell. Right? Give me a roll.
And I guess this one will be for the strategy.
Okay. Great. And
then
stubbornly you continue to spell, unaffected by the bounce and the flip and the crash.
And the other one, I think mystically infused. It's like just taking a beating, and I still know how to do this stuff, even if I don't necessarily want to. But it's been ingrained in me from birth, basically. So being slapped around while I'm casting a spell won't necessarily stop me.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Just practicing as a kid.
So your spell goes through. It does 1 point to spirit. Obviously, you on your back, unchanged, changer out of your hands. You whip all this dust and mist and feathers at it, but it keeps hopping around. And it feels like as it hops, it's crushing things all around you. And you feel like, this is a great idea, except for I still might get crushed anyway. So both of you take 1 point of damage to your spirit.
All right.
Okay. And who's got an action? Who wants to do something next? Now, I should probably give it to Pedro first because Isaac had that crit, so in a way you could be in the most opportune place. But of course, if you want to pass, you could let Brandy go next.
I'm gonna kind of wait for that. What's the status on the mist right now, the purple mist?
It is surrounding the hypnogriff, and it is fluttering all in his eyes, and he can't quite understand that why he seems to be in like under a rain cloud of his own design. And he's hopping around still gleefully, smashing up this part of the juice bar as he's moving more into the juice bar away from the rec center part. And you can just hear him making noises like, "Oh my, I'm lost in my own mist. How did this happen? Maybe everyone's lost in my mist." Boing, boing, boing.
So in that case, I'll slowly get up. Isaac will slowly get up. No, I don't want to go to baseball. It's and he kind of like sort of like starts up,
Yeah.
and then he kind of sees like Alistair like there, and just like this giant hippo just like crushing near him. And he goes, "Oh no!" And I think it'd probably be a good opportune time to power up and kind of take him at a more physical level, I guess.
Okay. What does that look like as you stick out your changer, not charger, as charger goes by?
I gotta charge my phone, guys. I'll be right back.
You pull out a phone charger out of your pocket.
Just like last time, we flip out a tarot card, kind of catch it, and then just hold out the changer, and just right in, and I'm like running, and as I do, just just light, and suddenly Yellow Ranger, and I immediately just jump up and trying to get this guy away from my buddy, just like full feet, like up in the air, both at the time, and just immediately like kind of kick him with both feet midair.
Okay, give me a roll.
Sure, I will.
Yay, the Power Rangers have arrived! Oh!
Time for my awesome entry. Just sort of like a Marshall Plan, maybe?
Sure. Yeah, it sounds like a reasonable plan.
Alright. So, let's see what we do for reason. So just a straight up, yeah!
Okay, 2 successes. Drop kicking the hippo from behind, like I said, so you have the jump on it, so I'm not going to hold hippo against you. And the sad truths are unable to affect you right now because they're all closed in around it. So maybe I could get you with the next turn if you end up in its like mist, but right now you're okay. So you have 2 successes. That's going to hurt the body for 2 points. You could remove hippo or sad truth as being a problem, or you can add a tag that might be something the others could work off of. What would you like to do?
Well, I think because we're disorientating him a little bit more, and now that some of us are starting to power up, I think the hippo part is starting to go away, and it's more like, oh, let's have some fun, Hippo Man, and just cracking knuckles.
Hippo is super scary to teenagers, but not to Power Rangers.
Not to Power
Okay.
Rangers. So just
what
straight
happens
up.
when you double kick it?
So as soon as I double kick it,
The Gold Ranger flies through the air with a drop kick.
just like sort of that, and just send him straight through the juice bar, and maybe he like comes up and his circle eyes are covered by like 2 sliced pineapple things. And he just,
Awesome, yeah.
where he just kind of tosses out of his eyes.
Yeah, and then when they pop off, his eyes are actually like the eyes in socket are spinning. And one of his feet smash the counter, and the other one grabs it. Ooh, I like pineapple. As it starts licking one of these drinks that pours all over its face, but then one of the machines just crashes down on its head as he broke the counter, so the machine slid, kind of crunch its head. Meanwhile, Brandy, you are unaffected. You feel that you can stop babbling if you want to. And you see...
Oh, but I'm still reading that long crap I just wrote on Twitch, though.
Oh. What does it say?
One time when I was 6, there was this monkey at the zoo, and I told my dad that I wanted a monkey really, really bad, but my dad said no. So when no one was looking, I opened the cage and climbed inside, and no one could find me for like a week, and that's how I learned to speak fluent Capuchin. And then for my 7th grade birthday, I told everyone that my mom was a professional wrestler, and that's why she wasn't around, but no one believed me, so I invited them all to my party, and while my dad was drunk and passed out, I dressed him in a wig and put lipstick on him and told everyone that he was my mom. And then... just that sort of like really, really like, why? What?
That's
These are my dark truths.
That's the best.
That's
As this is like this, both of them are like so in a fight right now, and they can just hear this babble going on in the background.
Yes.
What
So
do you
now
do?
that I realize,
Yeah.
yes. I let's see. So he still has his dust going around, or did we get rid of the sad truth?
Well, there's still sad truths available, but yeah, he will have to directly attack you, basically, like a targeted sort of feather and mist, feather dust, we'll say.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to morph. And I pull out my card, and since I seem to like really want to designate myself for the death card, at first there's like this green, and then it fizzles out and turns black.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe this time you pull out, you're like, wait, that's the wrong card, and you pull out the other with the black card.
And I have like the scythe or the sickle or whatever, and I gonna go with like sitcom and cartoon laws, physics, whatever, that when you bust one of the sprinkler heads, it makes them all they all start spilling out water. So in this tactic, I'm hoping that if I hit it, water comes down and it keeps the dust and the feathers and everything from floating. This is magic. I guess there's a chance that it'll be like, your physics don't count. But that would be my thoughts on how to do it. Would be to basically wash it away.
How are you gonna hit the sprinklers? You gonna like jump and kick them in the air, or you got something to throw at them, or?
Yeah, I'll probably there's the juice bar. I'll jump up on the juice bar and use my Power Ranger sky.
Sounds good.
Circle.
I was waiting for you to be like, I just started throwing like Power Ranger beer bottles at it. It's like you have like a 6-pack of like ammo or something.
Yeah, I always have a 6-pack.
There's like a case that comes out to your side that you just start shooting out of. Okay. Give me a roll. Which strategy? It's probably brawling, right? Unless you have something. Okay.
That would seem straight up brawling.
Imagine brawling, please.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay. 1 success. Any tags that could help you?
Hold my beer.
Okay. I guess before that, I should try to use sad truths. So, as you basically go to hit the sprinklers, you have to basically get up to the bar where the creature is, and as it got its head kind of crushed by like some two juicers that basically hit the both sides of its head. It's one of its wings. Its wings kind of go up, and these feathers kind of plume up into the air right as you like jump there. And of course, as any good Power Ranger, it's like you're stuck in that for a second as you're like as they're kind of hitting you, the little sparks flying. See if that re-roll your soul skill and see if you can keep your 3.
And that would be a vision roll, correct? Or just any tag?
Just any generic die. So find like it. Yeah, there you go. Oh no. So what that means is you have 2 10s, so that's a critical fail. So in this case, what's the worst possible thing that could happen when you jump on the bar and get hypnotized by the sad truths of the hypnogriff? So you're going to say it, and then it'll be lucid, and then it'll be Pedro. And we're going to take a good amalgamation of the bad, throw it together. I think this is
sad truth.
And ultimately what's important is, what's your mind?
What's my mind?
Yeah, what's Brandy's mind?
3.
Yeah, this is going to knock you out. And by knock you out, it's going to remove you from the scene somehow. So you can think about, like, how has that happened too? Because whatever you say, you might be like, oh my God. Or, obviously if you're hypnotized, or if you start tormenting the others, maybe it's more that your player doesn't have control over the character for a minute. Or it may make you run away, yelling and screaming, or, make you take the fetal position on the ground, or you might slip behind the counter and just be unconscious for a little bit. But what's the worst possible thing that could happen? It's jump on that bar, get dazzled in the dust. Gold Ranger in front of you, Alistair on his back, flipping over to look in this direction.
Well, I mean, so I am being affected by the sad truth.
Yeah, the dust itself surrounds you, and you will probably start voicing these sad truths in a way that hurt the others. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. It may hurt you. Maybe you continue on your rant that gets so dark and sinister personal that
I think that would probably be where it would go. It would be like suddenly like, the whole like, the truth is that my mom ran away because my father was a raging alcoholic, and he pushes everybody away from him just like I do, and you guys are my only friends, and you're like my only family, and I treat you like crap. And she just keeps going on and on and on. And even Inigo over here is, and she just keeps going and going. And it's, Alistair, if you leave, it'll be like, I'm just disappointed and ran off somebody else, and blah blah. She's just still going and going. And then if she does take a moment to stop, or if she falls on her butt because she doesn't get the sprinkler or whatever, I think it would probably be just like this stunned, like, oh my god, I just said that. If I don't know. She might just leave. I don't know.
Okay. Well, for the moment, you're word vomiting, right? And you're going to get a negative tag because basically it's as if you had a double fail. So in your case, we need to think of how do we word that the others know too much now, right? You're like vulnerable to them. Like they know your dirty secrets. Like maybe you really shouldn't be an alcoholic because you had an abusive father who was an alcoholic, and that's where it came from. What's a good way? And you guys can help too if you think, well, how should we tag her with that? Is she just vulnerable? Is she clearly an alcoholic, like in a negative way? Like,
yeah, maybe. I mean, that is so good. Maybe that should have long-reaching repercussions. Or like, okay, maybe we should really focus on getting her to stop drinking. So maybe maybe even saying like, ooh, bad alcoholic, or even vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable would be a good tag where, maybe we're kind of tiptoeing around on eggshells, like trying not to bring up certain things, but at the same time being like, oh, okay, maybe we have to have an intervention or something, like.
Lucy, what do you think?
Stealing your angst thunder.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about a specific tag name, but
sure.
I mean, everything Pete said is like pretty much on target, though.
So what we could do, Brandy, is we could say that you what happens with a negative tag is it blocks one of your good tags as well, because you put it to the right of the good tag that is blocked. So I mean, you could put it to the right of alcoholic and put like alcoholic, like bad alcoholic or something.
Ooh, how about shame?
Oh yeah, or you could put shame.
Secret shame.
Yeah, and you could put that, and you choose next to which tag, but one of those tags is going to be blocked till you get rid of this.
We'll do, we'll do shame next to alcoholic.
Okay.
You're not as proud about it.
So you heard what she had to say. It was a critical fail, so let's continue on. Lucid, what do you think also happens? Or do you want to add to that? Or do you think it's something else that's just...
I mean, that was pretty much exactly what I think would be the worst thing.
Yeah.
The first stuff she was saying was all like funny bad stuff, but it still was her resisting. It wasn't like the real reason she drinks or anything. And so I was going to say, like, basically that's what starts coming out, and that's exactly what happens. So.
Okay. Pedro, what do you think?
It's hard to add to that. That was really good.
Okay. So
Yay.
She just continues spilling the beans, and for a moment, the two of you are, like, stuck as, the camera pans to her and pans... Pedro, you almost look like you had a tear, and like you had like that face right there. That's epic. Yeah. So like the two of you basically see your face is covered by the gold mask, of course. But you know, as she's just spilling the beans, and it gets real intimate, personal, and dark, and the hypnogriff smashes the rest of the bar and goes, "That's what I'm talking about. Rangers are finally here. Come out and play, Gold Ranger. Time to spin and play the games with me." As he kind of rushes towards you. This buys you some time, Lucid. What does Alistair want to do?
Yeah, hearing like how bad like it actually got, like with Brandy, and seeing that while the stuff that I have flying around his head is blinding him but not affecting him, I cast a reversal spell on the energy of the dust and everything to make it affect him.
Cool, yeah.
Right there in his face already.
Awesome.
So that'd be Arcane Art Strategy. Reasonable or imagine? That's your call.
Imagine, just because. Is that possible? Will it work? You know, to stretch in that way, which I love. I love it. It's a great idea. Okay. No successes.
No.
Tags.
So, again, I mean, I think for like anything magic related, mystically infused is kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So that'll be for
throwing back. You know, like you cast this spell and start pushing back this dust and this as he's moving, like kind of running as a hippo, charging after towards the Gold Ranger. You're doing it, but it's all still staying behind him as he's charging. Like it's like his wings are pointed back, like a flying ant or something, and he's unaffected by the stuff till he stops. And you're like, oh, it's not working. It's not working.
You know what? I'm just gonna buy a double success.
Okay. Until it does, what happens? What do we see? Now, before I should say that, we can easily say this outsmarts the challenge.
Okay.
Because you used his own trick against him. You didn't convince him that he was doing the wrong thing. You just used his stuff against him. It's like a trap.
Right.
It will defeat the challenge. So you tell me, what does this look like?
Yeah. So I do my app and everything. I draw the sigils and everything like that, and then draw them in the air, and it sends out like a wave of energy that hits everything flying around his head, and they change colors to like my shade of purple, and there's a little bit of gold in there and a little bit of black. If you squint, it's green, and it like changes the energy of all of it. And as he starts breathing that in, now all of a sudden it's affecting him when normally it hadn't.
Okay. Just to throw it to the three of you, what do you think happens when he has to spill the beans? What are the sad truths that you as the players would like to hear come out of the hypnogriff? As he basically is charging towards the Gold Ranger and then like kind of putters out as he inhales all the fumes of his own wings and mist and dust and feathers. I imagine like he was charging you, and then his feet kind of like stick in the ground, and the wings kind of go forward as he's affected, stopping just like feet from Isaac as the Gold Ranger, and his eyes stop spinning, and his face droops as you can see he himself is mesmerized, and he can spill the beans about whatever you like. I'll give each of you one question. One and only one question. Who has a question for the hypnogriff?
Oh, man. I'm going to have to go last. It's too much pressure.
He clearly wanted to be the right-hand man of Mesmero.
Yeah.
So he knows how to find him and where he's at. So the exact location of his hideout, basically.
Yeah.
Like we know roughly what planet it probably is, but I mean like the exact coordinates on the planet.
Oh, okay. I was trying to think of a cool name for like a citadel or a tower. You know, like what is like the capital building of like the Alpheus planet? Because like there's like the Moon Citadel or something. Do the three of you have any inspirations for what would be like the Monster HQ's like top building?
Dark Heart.
What is it?
The Dark Heart.
The Dark Heart. Awesome.
If it like the core of like evil in the universe, basically.
Yes. I like the idea when you say that even, like almost like the walls are alive and there's like veins and it's like almost like this sort of cavernous place, like into the heart of the planet. Pedro or Jessica, do you have anything you want to add, or do you want to twist what I set up?
Dark Heart.
The monster homeworld, Orpheus.
Orpheus in the capital city of Dark Heart. The Dark Heart Citadel?
Okay.
That was a Care Bear villain in the 80s.
Yeah.
Lucid, I'm watching you. Yeah, Dark Heart Citadel is all that. It's a pretty cool name.
Okay. Jessica, anything you want to add?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I have something to ask, but nothing to add.
What do you have to ask?
Dog
Ears.
wants to ask something.
Yep.
I shall ask something.
Go
Make
for
me
it.
feel my feelings.
I go, well,
You
we
see that
know.
she's got a spray bottle? It's awesome.
It's like bad dog.
Her Power Ranger blaster. Shush, dog, shush.
Shame.
Sorry, Pedro, go ahead.
No, just trying to figure out, where are the 3 Power Rangers that you sent off from, sort of the planet? Like,
Yeah.
what locations did he kind of send them to? What do you know about those Power Rangers?
Yeah, and as he's like asking that, basically in my head, like that brings me back to where I was thinking, and Percival's one of them.
Yeah, if you've been caught on, Percival's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
So, you start spitting, where are they? What happened to them? How did they... And he's like he's like hallucinating himself, right? So as he's kind of talking up to the sky. Mesmero told them that they had a special mission and that they were betrayed by Power Rangers. I think there's even one close by. He thinks that the Green Ranger had something to do with it. Percival walks in and he goes, I knew it! I knew you'd be here. You'd be behind this. And he points at Brandy. You tricked me!
What?
What'd I do?
So basically, Pedro...
No, I was just yelling.
Oh,
so
I'm
I'm like,
sorry, yeah.
What did I do?
It was you. You sent me here.
What?
If it wasn't for you, I'd remember what my purpose was and where I came from and what I was doing. As he kind of putters out with that, it clearly says he has no idea what he's doing here and why.
Alistair, you want to field this one, buddy?
And kind of stand up and pick up my morpher and just kind of pocket it. I still don't put it on. And I just, Percival, we're pretty sure you're a Power Ranger.
He looks
With hair
to you.
like that, you're probably a green one.
That's great. I don't even know what the
Hey,
Power
wait a
Rangers
minute.
are.
Yeah, this thing's boss messes with minds, much more stronger minds than any of ours. It is affected, so
You start getting very
not
rational with
surprised.
him, and you can realize, like, there's a little spark in his eye that clearly shows that magic power of Mesmero that kind of triggers. And he looks, and everything gets tuned out as he, like, runs towards Brandy, who is the black, well, yeah, it is the Black Ranger now, right?
Yes, it's black now. Yeah.
Runs towards the Black Ranger. You can't fool me. You were green before, but you're black now. And he tries to like run at you and do like a karate kick, like a flying like Liu Kang Mortal Kombat kick. And it's actually pretty good considering, but he's still just a regular teenager coming at you with this flying kick. As he's like one track oblivious. It's clear to Alistair, who has magic abilities, that he is possessed by some ability, probably even beyond hypnogryphs. It's probably Mesmero himself. While that's happening, Isaac, the hypnogryph is like, but the other two, one of them's still there. He thinks he's gone. He thinks he's not on Orpheus anymore. But he's still there. He's so confused. Brandy, what do you do with with Percival, who runs and flying kicks towards you? He seems enraged, mad even.
Percy is like the least of my problems right now. So he's coming at me, and I would probably attempt to sidestep him and get my attention would be on Isaac and Alistair, and basically saying something like, you know, I want to somehow convey that we need to find out why they sent this specific monster with those specific abilities here. What was he trying to find out from us personally?
Oh, okay. So you're trying to convey to them.
I'm trying to convey to them, but Percy is like angry and annoying and.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, if I could, and like seeing him like jumping for the attack of her, I'd just kind of like step in front of it and take it, basically.
Awesome. Well, it makes sense that she is like trying to say something. Yeah, I don't see any reason why you couldn't step in the way and get, you know, ninja kicked in the face or in the chest because you took it.
Yeah, like put up a hand type of thing or something, but you know, trying to.
You were a Power Ranger, and in real life, like they don't really get hit that hard. You just go flying. So where does he hit you, and where do you go flying?
I mean, I think if he was flying in to hit her, he hadn't fully descended yet, so probably higher up than he would have hit her. Okay. So maybe just somewhere like right in here.
All right, so you get kicked and you just kind of go backwards, just right out and panning out of the screen as your arms probably wave, you know.
Yeah.
And he lands on his feet as if he's done this a million times.
Right.
Your friends can't save you, Black Ranger. And he basically starts like the, you know, sort of 100-hand fist. It's not actually like a special move. You know, he's running at you with just like synchronized punches.
I sigh and I grab a juice bottle, something on the islet on the bar, and I go to just knock his ass out.
All right, great.
Which would be brawling and God knows what else, because this is probably something I'm good at.
And that's probably reason brawling. I was like, maybe it's imagine because you probably just don't knock people out, you probably beat them up. But I was like, no, it's a Power Ranger. It's a Power Ranger episode. Of course you knock people out.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I forgot. I knocked the chat off. Hey, no successes. Amy tags. You got 2 of them.
Belligerent.
Yeah, makes sense. He kind of
because
like.
I'm trying to do my job, and Percy needs to just go find Josie.
I like that. I can imagine that you're trying to tell them like, find out what, and he's just like following you, punching you, backing you up to like the juice bar. What's left of it.
Damn it, Percy, stop.
I can't stop till justice is served. You get what you deserve, Power Ranger.
The juice bar closed when this dude came in. Nothing is being served.
Okay, you do have one more tag.
Oh, let's see.
As you're belligerent, you swing the beer bottle. Oh, a cheap shot. You think I'll fall for that twice, Black Ranger? So he like steps back and kind of poses and then starts running at you again for another leaping kick. This time he's going to do like the Gold Ranger did.
And I feel like swinging it a second time after being called out would be dumb luck.
All right. I'm going to say that's strategy. So you got 1 success. So he comes flying through the air like a double jump kick. It hits you and knocks you against the wall, but it doesn't knock you out, and you have time to spin and hit him over the head with this bottle. So technically you would take 1 point body, and so would he, but it's not a challenge, so don't worry about it. Okay. Brandy stops Percival with the bottle. It takes so long, though, she loses her question. Alistair, do you have a question before the hypnogryph disappears into the mist?
Yeah, that was the exact coordinates of where the base was that was holed up in and all that.
Okay. So the hypnogryph, you're like, with exact coordinates. Oh, you'll never find him in the citadel of the dark heart of Alpheus. It's the monster homeworld, of course, so no Rangers ever step foot on it other than the Lost Rangers, and that's why they're lost. You need a Lost Ranger to get you there. They're the only ones who can just morph there. if you had a lost ranger with a morpher. So with that, he spills the beans because that's actually plenty effective with a knocked out Percival over there. Given that maybe you have a morpher for him, and he starts to fade. Oh no, they're calling me back. Enough talk. I will see you again soon, Rangers. Oh, that's what this feels like. And he just kind of turns into dust as he mists away. And you can almost hear someone yelling, like as he kind of like gets teleported away. You idiot! You told them everything.
Good night, sweet
The
prince.
juice bar and the rec center are utterly savaged. Percival's unconscious with the nice welt on the top of his head. Brandy, I feel like you were like in the corner, kind of accosted, like you got attacked until you were cornered in the very corner of the room, and it is just a disaster. Given the time, let's move to gratitude. You have the keys to the castle. When you take Percival back to monitor, the start of next meeting, well, you have what we need to get you to the homeworld. Of course, we still have to infiltrate the Dark Heart, but you have what you need. So, gratitude. Think about for a second, each of you, what is your favorite thing that another person did that made your experience better tonight? And when you got it, just spit it out.
I think Brandy and her long series of confessions. Loved it. It was perfect.
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty much that, and then also that giving way to like the actual painful truths, because just like the last two times, it was for Pedro, like basically doing exactly what I was wanting to happen, and then she did exactly what I was wanting to happen with that too. So,
with that, what was I going to say? Was that Jess, do you have that? Do you have that transcript of what you wrote? Can you copy it somewhere?
Oh yeah, it's actually on the Twitch.
it didn't go. It's probably too long if it was all one thing.
Yeah.
So it didn't actually go through.
Put it in the Discord later. Like, we totally have to share that. It was epic. I just didn't want you to lose it. Keep on. Who else has gratitude?
Let me think.
I believe they showered you with gratitude and pleasantries today.
They did. Now I've got to think of something nice, and that's not hard. It's just I got to pinpoint.
And that's
something
okay.
in
Pick one of
particular.
them. Pick just one thing that one of them did that was awesome.
He showed up.
Brandy's like, they praised me.
They're still there even after I told them all the bad stuff. No, see, me as a player.
Yep. I mean, it could be what they did in character, but that's what the player chose to do, right? So.
Mm-hmm. So I do like the fact that even though Brandy gave all of her dark secrets, that they still put up with her, or they didn't shun her, which is kind of from a writing standpoint obvious. And then it's the fact that when you think about what an awful person she really is, that they're actually still there.
Oh.
I mean, yes, we're okay. Honestly, it's because we're bound because we're Power Rangers, but whatever. I do like the fact that even though Alistair is like, oh, I'm not good enough, he's still like understanding that he does have a responsibility, whether he wants to be a Power Ranger or not. He's got a responsibility to do something, because not many people are going to be able to even fathom the things that we're obviously going to be going up against. So I imagine that he's going to come along with us on this journey, whether or not he wants to put his morpher on or not, just because with great power comes great responsibility. I just love the way Pedro plays Isaac, like, right down to like the voice and the speaking patterns. It's super cute.
Awesome. Well, with that, until next Tuesday, we say adieu. As we infiltrate the stronghold, Alpheus, the homeworld of monsters.
Did we?